남자 나리는 제일 좋아하는 해결사가 누구시오? 배지 나눠드릴 테니 옷에 붙이고 다니시는 게 어떠?
Greetings and salutations everyone, I'm Ekamac, this is Limbs Company. New identity is out, so let's have a look at it. Well, we also have a new E.G.O, and that's... For an HE to have 7 attack weight, that's kind of uncommon. But okay, target the ally with the least HP for 18 plus 6. I have to wonder if soloing means that this can't hit anyone at all, or if soloing means that he'll target himself? Before attack, gain highest resonance +1 torn memory, to a maximum of 7. If said resonance is pride resonance, gain highest ×2 instead, but still a maximum of 7. Gain poise for every torn memory, lose torn memory after attack. This coin deals damage only against main target. If the main target is an ally, deal 15% more damage for each torn memory. Apply 3 poise to self and 2 allies on kill. Gain E.G.O resource for the allies' skill 1 and skill 2 affinities. If it's a fail, then gain poise. This coin deals damage only against sub-targets. I have to wonder if this means that it's going to roll 0 damage, so it'll still trigger effects like rupture and sinking, or if they legitimately mean it will only hit those targets. Anyway, if the first coin failed to kill an ally, 1 random sub-target takes damage. 9% more damage on critical hit for every torn memory, on crit inflict bleed. Oh, 2 pride, 6 wrath. That's kind of impressive actually. And if it corrodes, again target the ally with the least HP, gain resonance. Honestly, it doesn't look that different. And 8 resources is a little bit steep of a price when you consider that others can have 5. On ally kill you get 2 refunded, but that's not much. Honestly, it doesn't look that different to overclock it. After attack, if the target is killed, gain 2 poise count. That's kind of nice for Pekoji-sang, but not the greatest. And here we have the big one. The Princess of La Mancha Land, Rodion. Second Kindred, Bloodfiend and La Mancha Land. Be gone. On self and ally with the highest max HP. Consume up to 20 Blood Feast and apply Blooming Thorn every 10 Blood Feast this unit consumed. Prioritize Bloodfiend allies. If the affected ally is a Bloodfiend, additional Blooming Thorn. If we fail to consume Blood Feast, gain 5 bleed. The catch is that at 5 bleed she's not going to do a good job of feeding up the Blood Feast on her own, is she? It rolls a cap of 11, +1 offense level. Yeah. Coin power for every bleed on the target to a maximum of 2. This is stage 1 Blooming Thorn. At max stack, convert to the next stage. Inflict stage -1 more bleed and rupture potency with this unit's base attack skill coin effects. I wonder if that means that it'll work in conjunction or separately from Sanguine Desire. Anyway, in Finely Ground Mist Fall. Combat start. On self and ally with the least HP, the least max HP. Apply 1 attack power up, consume up to 30 Blood Feast, and apply Blooming Thorn for every Blood Feast consumed, twice per turn. If target ally is a Bloodfiend, additional attack power up and Blooming Thorn. A +2 is actually pretty busted. Even just a +1 is quite strong. 2 offense level, 3 coins, +4, so she rolls about a 16. But throw in coin power and that becomes... oof. I think that becomes a 20. 6 plus 6 plus 6 is 18, so it'd be 22. Inflict 2 rupture count and bleed count. Inflict 1 rupture and 1 bleed. Unfortunately, that's only enough to stabilize. It doesn't get excess, which means that her skill 1 is going to break down the rupture count a bit. Skill 3, the festival will end. At 25 Blooming Thorn, oh good gravy, that's a lot. She's a very slow build up is what I'm finding here. Activate Ascendant Don Quixote Hardblood Arts, the finale. If target has bleed, gain 1 coin power. So actually this is going to end up being weaker than her skill 2, unless you activate the specialty version, oh dear. To self and highest resonance allies apply 3 plus 1 for every 50 Blood Feast consumed by this unit. Ah! So this one's special effects aren't based on her consuming Blood Feast, it's based on how much Blood Feast she's already consumed. Apply Festive Fever this turn and next turn. Against targets with bleed, deal extra damage per stack. Skills that consume or gain Blood Feast deal even more damage per stack. Since it stacks to 10, that's 15% to 30%. On self and highest resonance allies apply 3 Blooming Thorn. Oh, so it's just a flat out Blooming Thorn bonus. Anyway, it gives 1 rupture count and 1 bleed count. She is not a stable rupture identity. Yeah, because it says her Blooming Thorn at high levels does not add that much to the rupture potency. If you want to use Rupture Rodion, then just use her Delivery Rodion identity. Anyhow, this gains 3 attack weight. If the target has bleed, gain 1 coin power. It has 1 coin power built into it, so that would be 19 becomes 22. So again, it's only as strong as her skill 2 at full power. Go figure. To self and highest resonance allies apply 5 plus 1 for every Blood Feast consumed. Festive Fever this turn and next turn. To self and highest resonance allies apply 5 Blooming Thorn, as opposed to 3 Blooming Thorn. Deal extra damage per Blood Feast consumed. Consume all Blooming Thorn. And even here, her extra rupture count and extra bleed count isn't even breaking even. Her rupture is just a nice bonus, it's not something you're expected to actually rely on. Passives. Blood Feast is all Blood Fiends have. Hard Blood Thorn. 3 Lust, 2 Envy owned. When an other ally takes bleed damage or consumes Blood Feast, this unit gains Blooming Thorn. Okay, now this is the nice part. Heal self on by 20% of damage dealt with base skills, but a maximum of 10 per skill. At max HP, heal 1 ally with the lowest HP percentage by excess healing. So she kind of helps out, but not as much as other identities might. Support skill, Blossom with Blood. To an ally with the highest bleed potency at turn end, reduce the ally's bleed potency by 6, and apply bleed potency divided by 2 Blooming Thorn. So she could be handy as a backup unit in the current Kanto. And before I forget, it's a clashable counter. Don Quixote Hardblood Arts 15 Parasol. Reduce bleed count by 3 for 2 allies. Wow. So she's also very good on the front lines because she's able to knock down a lot of the bleed potency that we're picking up. Increase blood feast by the amount reduced. If this reduces bleed count to 0, the bleed expires. If the ally is a Bloodfiend, reduce by 2 more. On clash win, gain... Okay, so this is an on use, not combat start. If she doesn't clash, she doesn't reduce the bleed. But anyway, gain Blooming Thorn for clash win. Inflict bleed and bleed count. Not bad. She's weak to slash, but ineffective to pierce. And she actually has 3 defense level. So yeah, she's not a powerhouse, but she is... she does look quite decent.
위장에 묵직히 얹히는 총신을 느끼리라. 흉악한 총탄이 저들을 관통하리라.
라마 챌린지에 카니발에 오신 걸 환영합니다. 끝없는 퍼레이드를 함께 해주시겠나요?
Yeah, Rodion would be the sort to enjoy being the center of attention every day, wouldn't she? Anyway... Actually, wait. Just a glimpse at Yisang's new E.G.O. We do have enough to do a little bit of uptime, but yeah. So, okay, now that's interesting. Even at its slowest level, you actually get 7 attack weight here. So this could actually make for a discount to sweeping E.G.O. After attack, if target is killed, gain 2 poise count. You passive. Next. And this gives us... Hang on, why is it if the main target is an ally, deal more damage? Maybe it's compensating for if you only have enemies on the field? I'm not entirely sure. But now the actually interesting part of this, okay, Princess of La Mancha Land. Combat start on health and ally with the highest max HP, consume Blood Feast, apply Blooming Thorn. Let's go start up a testing run actually.
내가 필요해?
최선을 다해볼게.
Now keep in mind that they are actually leveling up from all this. So Gregor is starting to get a little bulkier.
부디 정신을 유지할 수 있기를.
나를 지켜보고 있었군.
Okay, so she's just a Limbus company. She doesn't have Bloodfiend tied into her yet.
죄인인가? 죄인인가?
So she isn't quite self-destructing like Gregor did, but there's a definite dent in the HP she has, so she's probably a bit better off when well, when she has some HP wiggle room.
인간!
Oh,
이번에 네 승리했어.
I accidentally let Don Quixote hit someone.
고귀하게 추잡하네. 이번에 네 피분수.
She isn't really picking up a lot of momentum with Blooming Thorn, but that's because she doesn't have a Blood Feast pool to work with.
고귀하게 이번에 네 피분수.
Although it does look like getting her up to that second tier does give her a fancier parasol to work with.
피분수가 폭죽보다도 높이 솟아올랐어. 아니야, 이렇게 크게 웃으면 안 돼. 아름다움을 잃지 않게, 그리고 제2 권속으로서의 품위도 잃지 않게 하자.
Okay, so let's just tune her up a little bit so we can see more interesting things. So, at this uptie, she gains a speed boost. Be Gone gains something. It gains coin power if the target has bleed. And this gains coin power if the target has bleed. Ah! There's a difference for you. At the moment, we don't actually get to add any rupture count or bleed count that actually matters. Uptying to rank 2 fixes that. And I didn't read the rest of it, did I? It unlocked the passive at least, which we know is when ally takes bleed damage or consumes Blood Feast, gain Blooming Thorn. Well, that's Bloodfiend's, but I think that's also Mersault's E.G.O. But the part we've all been waiting for is the uptie story. So, gain even more speed, so she rolls 4 to 7. That's a pretty decent roll range, actually. There's certainly better, but it could be worse. This unlocks her skill 3 at 25 plus Blooming Thorn, oh boy. That's a lot of Blooming Thorn. Activate Finale instead. Self and highest resonance allies apply Blooming Thorn. Base rupture count. Actually, the rupture count and bleed count is pretty bad on the Finale as well. I guess you have to get her up to uptie 4 for that, so give her a base of 11. Increase the base power for her skill 2 to 4. And unlock the support passive.
오늘 밤의 퍼레이드는 조금 다를 거야. 진짜 카니발의 시작이니까.
We were happy at first. Father spent his days twaddling about silly things like dreams, but I suppose he had his own charming mirth. But it was a good life if the worst thing I had to do was placidly indulge his stories. My memories of the years I lived as a human have all but disappeared, but at least this life had to be better than whatever that was. Maybe that's why I agreed to become his kindred. Or maybe I was seduced by the promise that my beauty could be made to last for all eternity. I began to understand my father only when I began to create my own kindreds, my children, when they began to grow in number. I understood that father wanted us to be happy. He wanted to free us from the crippling loneliness, for he was the first to suffer it. Or so I thought, until some traveller visited our castle and deluded my father with that sickening manipulation that his dream could somehow be realised, even in the waking world. Sancho. Father always tried to bring us two closer, as if we were sisters. Perhaps it was fortunate that neither of us was the friendly type. We both liked to put up a wall between us and the rest of the world, so naturally we distanced ourselves from each other as well. I had a degree of faith in her, however, her strength, her abilities, and her more down-to-earth perspective on life that heavily contrasted our father's wild imaginations. Sancho never had children of her own, but she always seemed at least neutral when it came to looking after my kindreds. And it is that odd distance between us that brought this plan to fruition. Though we were both second kindreds, I could let her take care of our family to look after my children and their kindreds while I devised this plan. Eventually, our father's sanity was completely broken. He destroyed our castle and built a bizarre amusement park in its place, rambling a plan that seemed to have come straight out of a madman's dream, that we could coexist with humans. That we must live begging for stagnant blood in packs, when veins of pulsating with hotly flowing blood walk right past us. That we must subsist on that thing, more flavourless than even pastel paste. That all of his kindreds must live trapped in a fate worse than that of a blood bag, all for the future in which bloodfiends and humans may coexist in harmony. His eyes gleamed with conviction that to dream he could endure even the yearning for blood. Yet, desire is not something that can be so easily overcome. It has broken my undying loyalty. This hunger coerced me to think of committing the inconceivable crime of filial impiety. No, it may just be that I do not have the strength to pursue the dream as he does. There was a peddler, a merchant of odds and ends, who'd always come to visit us at the amusement park. Our father is tragically naive and innocent. Every time the merchant brought him false relics, he got swindled into buying every single one of them. But the peddler didn't just carry counterfeits. Sometimes, Sancho and I would go behind our father's back to threaten the peddler. We would be presented with an authentic relic the very next day. So one day, another day of suffering through that hunger, I thought to ask the peddler about this rumoured relic. Say, do you know about the legendary Helm of Mabrino that brings the wearer to equal ground with all those around them? That little tomb raider could not possibly have imagined what we were planning to do with the artifact. Of course not. Just as we could never gain an understanding of humans, just as we could never be one of them, no matter how long our lives may be, they won't ever understand us. Gregor, that child, he claimed that wasn't true, that humans were really starting to see us in a new light, but I saw it all from the apex upon which I stood. Humans looking up at me in the parade, their faces brilliant with happy smiles, and bloodfiends who shuffled among humans with their eyes lost and wavering with hunger. It doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter whether humans saw us in a different light or not. What matters is that I and my children are going hungry. Besides, Sancho agreed with me. We couldn't just sit here and watch that human corrupt our father with that silver tongue. Finally, the preparations for the carnival are complete. Now I leave this endlessly whirling yet stagnant, self-devouring parade and announce the beginning of a true feast of blood. Oh, it's going to be so beautiful. Oh dear. So it sounds like this world's version of Sancho chose to ally with the rebels. Oh dear. So then, if you get her final up-tie, she gains an extra cap to her coin power bonus, and that's it. An increase to the cap on her coin power bonus here as well. Coin power bonus on her skill 3. Coin power bonus on her secret skill 3. And an increase to her rupture and bleed count. Actually, I could think of something I could make use of that for, but I don't know how much I want to change around my old Lust Excavation team. Okay, anyhow. Oh, this also increases her support passive. When another ally takes bleed damage, this unit gains Blooming Thorn. At max HP, heal one ally with the lowest HP percentage. Just for fun, let's throw them back into the initial level.
내가 나설 차례인가?
Honestly, I probably don't even need Don Quixote in there, I just need the Bloodfiends.
그쪽도 죄인인가?
추잡하네.
그쪽도 죄인인가?
네 피부에서 추잡하네.
Add 3 Blooming Thorn to yourself, why not?
출진이다!
Oh hey, when she gives everyone festival fever, you've got confetti everywhere. That's fun.
그쪽도 죄인인가?
네 피분수.
Ah, he's hit max on Ailing Heart, okay.
고귀하게. 추잡하네. 이쁘네. 네 피분수. 고귀하게.
Can't quite get her to 25 when you're dealing with very fragile enemies like this, but yeah, it looks like the 3 Bloodfiends are designed to work in conjunction with each other, where Rodion is keeping them from killing themselves with bleed.
아니야, 이렇게 크게 웃으면 안 돼. 아름다움을 잃지 않게.
Priest Gregor is being a tank,
제2 권속으로서의
and presumably Bloodfiend Otis is getting a boost up, so she can use her specialty moves a bit more often. Although I guess that also leads to an interesting case where Bloodfiend Otis is slash resistant and blunt weak. You're blunt resistant and pierce weak. And she's pierce resistant and slash weak. So each of them is weak and resistant to different types. They're also monotyped attackers. So in a way, you could actually use them for all the new experienced excavations. But anyway, with that out of the way, until next time guys, take care, I'll see you all around.
점심밥은 무엇을 먹을 생각이요? 나는 로자 씨가 배달 일이 재밌어서 하는 건 아니지. 뭐 두려운 건 내가 가장 두려운 건 피에 대한 욕망을 주체하지 못하고 추잡하게 전락하는 일이야. 권속들이 모두 먹고 지내려면 혈액바가 있어야만 한다는 건 동의하지만 애초에 어버이께서 이 이야기는 그만하자.